Yo, what up, some old bitch?
Yo.
It's Finish or Fail, which should have started with a video where it was me by myself watching a bunch of dumpster fire anime. But now that I got May here, we're gonna watch some actually good anime. Because you don't have time for shit.
Yeah,
You probably also don't have time for good shows, but we're gonna see what we can do.
How many shows are on my side?
26, but I doubt we'll watch. Like, some of them are questionable.
Yeah.
Some of them are very questionable.
Most of them I'm pretty sure we'll watch, like, 3 seconds of.
There's definitely like 10 or so that I could easily see us finishing, though. So we'll be running the roulette and seeing what we get. Let's fucking do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah! Alright. Let's see what we get. 17, which is Sorianto? Sorianto?
It is.
Sorianto. I don't know what that is.
What is that?
Let's find out. All right. Well, we just watched Soryoto Majiwaru Shikiyoku no Yoru ni, or what was it, like a steamy night with a priest?
Yeah. One night stand with the priest.
We watched about half of it. Except it's not about one night at all. This was pornography, which you would think we would be way into.
We really both of us wanted to see this.
Look, this show
We're both really interested.
This show has less than a 5 on my anime list, which is like really rare
bad.
levels of bad. Like, there are less than 100 shows with a score this low on Mal. So, like, but like the image of it, you can't really tell because it's blown out, is of like a cute girl in the arms of a priest, and it's like real racy.
Yeah.
So I was like hoping this would be like a smutty, hilarious, like rom-com sex comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about what happened when we first tried to watch this.
So we typed in like watch whatever the fuck this is called.
Yeah.
And a couple of like streaming sites came up, and we clicked on them, and they were like incredibly censored. Like,
yeah,
they were bits that were cut out, and like there were weird
replaced
puppet shows.
Yeah.
And like weird flashback sequences, or just like previews of the next episode with a character talking.
That wasn't a preview of the next episode.
What was that?
It was a preview of the episode itself.
Yeah.
Like, it was basically, it cuts, instead of showing us a sex scene, it cuts out all of the girls' dialogue, and it's just the guy saying stuff.
A still picture of the guy.
Yeah, and still pictures of him, and like, you know, it, like, you can tell that there's just the girl's audio is missing because there's long gaps between what he's saying. And so it was a preview of what the actual episode is. And then there's like, a whole puppet show at the end.
Like really corny jokes about how he has no hair.
Yeah.
And it's like,
which was in many ways a more charming show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was actually a better anime than the real show. So, you know, of course, when I see this stuff, I'm thinking, well, this is obviously censorship. Like, because there was already, like, little censorship where they'd show, like, this little, like...
priest bell thing.
Yeah, like a little bell blocking the crotches. Yeah. And so... So I was like, all right, well, this is like the weirdest censorship I've ever seen. Let's look into this. And it turns out there was 3 different broadcasts of this show. There was the internet version, which is literally pornography. Then there's a 15-plus version and an all-ages version. And I guess we were watching the all-ages. I don't know where the 15-plus version aired.
Where would that, like... I don't understand why they made 3 different versions. Like,
I don't understand why they made one version of this show. This is listed... Hold on. What are they... Okay, this listed as Josei. Somewhere else it listed this as shoujo. But this is based on a manga for adult women. But it's pornography.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as we can tell, it's fetish porn for girls who are attracted to monks.
Yeah.
That's
a real niche category.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe in Japan it's bigger. Because there's definitely like a stereotype of like fujoshi who like old bald guys. Like, one of the characters in Genshiken is a girl who's like way into old bald dudes. So, I mean, this guy's not even old, but like... That's definitely who this is for.
Yeah.
Like, if you happen to be a woman who's way into fucking a priest, a bald priest, then maybe this is for you, but it's also bad.
If you like monk porn, this is what you should watch.
And very female oriented.
Oh,
monk
extremely
porn.
female oriented.
Like to a degree that's kind of comical.
Yeah.
So
it felt like reading one of those like shitty cheap like paperback books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read a sex scene in one of those before, and it was awesome. Because it was like it was like 3 pages, and it took place next to a fire, and like they kept describing the raging of the flames.
My mom really likes books like that, so. I tend to like things with more of like a masculine perspective. Like.
Yeah. Well, you like normal pornography as opposed to like something that is so obviously shilling for women that it's almost weird. Mm-hmm. Like this isn't what actual sex is like.
No,
you know?
It's like. It's weird emotional gush porn.
Well, because the first... So what this show's about, this girl has always had a crush on this boy from her class, and she never got to say anything, but they both happened to be at a party.
Reunion, I'm pretty sure it's a reunion.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I just thought, I thought it was like a college thing or something.
No, it was definitely a reunion. Cause
they're not old enough to be having a reunion, though.
You could have a reunion like 5 years after... high school.
I guess so. They're having a reunion, I guess.
It felt like a reunion.
And she's seeing him, the guy she always liked, and it turns out he's bald now because he's a priest. He's a monk. And she's like, "Oh, that's
great.
That's
I'm
cool,
just gonna
I guess."
get really drunk.
Yeah, so she gets shit-faced, and he ends up guiding her home. And he, puts her in bed, and she's just kind of, rambling about how he'll always be there for her, even though... It wasn't really clear if they had
close or anything. In school.
Were they? Was she distantly in love with them? And throughout the series, they'll give little flashbacks where they seem to maybe have known each other, but it's not that clear. But
I don't think they were friends. I think they may have just gone to school together and knew of each other.
She's phrasing it like you'll always be there for me and all this shit.
She's drunk. Man.
And then he comes over and he's like, if you're gonna look sexy like that, I'm just a man. And so he immediately just starts, fucking her.
Yeah.
He just starts grabbing all over. But then the weird part is that it takes until, episode 7 of this show before he puts his dick inside of her.
And we weren't even sure if he actually put his dick in her in episode 7.
Or if he was just rubbing it on her.
He definitely just, fucked her in the climax. Through the episode to see, because that was the first thing we clicked was episode 7.
Yeah,
and we were
by mistake.
Wait, what the fuck?
And episode 7 opened on them fucking, so we were like, whoa, and then we were on the wrong one.
So,
but what I mean to say though is very female oriented because all he does is pleasure her for 5 straight episodes.
And suck her tits.
Yeah, but it's full on pornography.
Yeah.
He's eating her pussy in episode 2, on screen. So, it was oh, this is porn. It was so weird because we watched the first 2 episodes before we realized it was censored. And then watching episode 2 uncensored, the original has a puppet show and all this information about the characters' backstories. The real version is just they fuck. And the episode's only 3.5 minutes long, so it's just a sex scene and then it's over.
It was more than 3.5 minutes.
Each episode's 3.
Minutes.
3 minutes.
No, the uncensored episodes were 8 minutes long.
Baby, I'll show you right now. Each. There's no way that felt 8 minutes.
They were longer than 3 minutes.
Oh god, I can't see the fucking mouse because of these sunglasses. 4.5.
Alright.
I'm scared to click on any other episodes because they might intro on pornography. But, yeah, so at first, here's the thing, though. We haven't really reviewed this. We're just kind of describing it so far.
It's fascinating.
It is
People
fascinating.
People need to know about the 3 different versions of this.
Yeah, well, that's the most interesting part. But as for actually reviewing the content, it was very disappointing.
Oh, yeah. It was porn, but it was a bad porn.
And the thing is that when I saw the below 5 score, my assumption was that it was going to be because this is trashy pornography. That it's a trashy romance with lots of sex and nudity, and those always get lower scores. Mm-hmm. People, the anti-fan service people, I'm not one of those. Porn.
Fan service is good.
So we went into this hoping it was gonna be everyone was wrong about it, or that it I didn't expect it to be more than a 6 at most, but I was really hoping, based on episode 1. that it would just be kind of like a cute girl gets with the guy she's always liked and they fuck a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Okusama Seito Kaicho, the one where the guy gets engaged to the student council president, and it's basically just a cute rom-com where they happen to get naked a lot, you know? Was kind of hoping for that, but where this gets really weird is in the dialogue.
Yeah, it's...
And the nature of their relationship.
Which is disturbing to me. Which is saying a lot.
It is definitely saying something. We are both... Neither of us is particularly prudish.
No.
We are not very, what's... I don't know a good word. We're not cucks? Is that the only word that can come to mind? This episode...
We're supportive of a story with pornography in it.
Yeah, and I'm okay with it being weird and a little fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm okay with a little fucked up relationship, but this was so ridiculous, because what happens is, okay, first of all, he takes advantage of her while she's drunk in episode 1.
That's how it starts.
Right? That's how it starts. And she's clearly, not quite on board because she's confused about what's happening, but she's getting off on it, and she likes the guy. And so, I've seen people online in reviews categorizing this as a rape. And I was like, technically, this is a rape. But, in the words of Jim Jeffries, as rapes go, it wasn't the worst rape. It's the guy she loves, and she's clearly getting off on it. But then you get to episode 3, where the next morning, she wakes up, and he goes...
I want to take you somewhere.
Yeah, he just says, I want to take you somewhere. So he takes her to a temple, a Buddhist temple, and goes, and his mom shows up, who's, super cute for some reason.
The mom is cuter than her.
Yeah,
and
the mom's
really
the cutest
hot,
character.
But the mom is really fucking cute.
So the mom's like, oh, come in, have a seat. So he sits down, they sit down with his parents, and he goes, me and her are engaged. And she's just like,
awesome.
And the parents are totally into it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, here's a room for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, they she has no idea what's happening. This guy has just told the parents that he's in love with her and that he's engaged with her. Mm-hmm. And they're totally excited. So this was the point where I was like, okay, this is rape.
Yeah, this makes me feel uncomfortable, and I am somebody who is typically into rape.
I was like, man, this is a bit much, to recover from, So, and because she's so not into it, she's totally what's going on here? This is weird. So then
she was confused.
The mom opens the door, and there's a huge master bedroom, and she's like, here, you guys can use this bedroom. And then she is leaving the room, and she's like, you guys can do whatever you want in here, and closes the door, and he immediately is like, boom, hand to wall, it's happening, and she's just like, what? And so he just immediately starts fucking sucking her tits and shit, and we were just like, what is happening? So basically the arc of the story is that he essentially tells her that he wants her to it was unclear from the beginning whether or not he is in love with her.
Yeah.
It seemed like that was the case to me, but she didn't interpret it that way. The way she interprets what he says is, I would like to, date you, or, I'm gonna have to get married. I'd like it to be to my true love. And I want to date you until I find my true love. That's how she interprets it. I thought he was just saying he was in love with her. It was weird and confusing, and he's very vague whenever it comes up. She's telling him, why are you lying to your mother about being in love with me? And he's like, oh, she says, I care if you lie.
He was
and he's
why do you care that if I lie or not?
Yeah, he's like...
And I'm like...
He's like, don't you think... He says, do you think there's no emotions when I do things like this? And then, they fuck, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Just... Do you like her or not? I need to know that before I can feel comfortable watching you fuck her all the time.
This was more confusing and annoying than, a will they, won't they, generic story, which I hate. And I was like, this is worse. How did they make it worse?
So we made it through 5 episodes before we were and as a porn, it's nothing to write home about.
The animation's It's like
I don't think she's that hot. Like,
he was doing generic sexy stuff.
Yeah. The camera angles aren't impressive. He's a fucking monk. So like, if you're not into monk dudes, he's weird looking, and she's like okay, but like
she had some cute outfits. I'll give him credit for that. In the last
sometimes
episode,
they would draw her well. Like, I like her hair, but she's not hot enough to carry a whole show on watching this girl get teased.
The way they drew her body was really inconsistent. Like she had like a really nice ass in like one frame, and then it was like gone.
Yeah.
I'm like.
So it was not a great porn. No. It was a terrible romance. And we eventually just skipped to the last episode just to see how this all concludes, which is just they fall in love and they fuck.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, so this is just porn. Literally, this is porn for women who like monks.
Stockholm Syndrome with monks.
That for some reason has 3 different versions of an anime adaptation.
So your kids can watch it with you. So your kids can get in on the fucking monk action.
Next show. Okay, we're going again. We've got 5. 5 is ACCA.
Oh, snap.
This is the one of the shows that I've heard is supposed to be good
he
from some people.
Cigarettes, and he's cool.
Have you seen some of this?
I've seen part of episode 1.
Okay, well, let's check it out. Hey, we just watched episode 1 of ACCA.
Is that how you pronounce it, ACCA?
Well, how else would you pronounce it?
ACCA?
I think they were referring to it as ACCA in the dialogue, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. Who knows?
Because he says it's one of the 7 mysteries of ACCA, and I think he just said it like that.
You're probably right.
We watched the first episode, and it was really fucking boring.
It was.
Like, there's a lot of intrigue about this show. There's things that seem interesting.
The world seems really interesting. It would be an interesting book. Like, I would read this if it was a book, but as a cartoon...
It's too boring.
It's really bad. It's really dry.
I mean, the first part of the episode is too much exposition, and funnily enough, it was weird because I was lapsing in attention at the very start because there was so much so much expository dialogue right off the bat. And then the characters kind of repeated what they had said in that scene, like, a lot more times. And so, like, weirdly, it went from me going, like, oh, shit, I wasn't paying enough attention, like, what did they just say, to, oh, my God, I got it. Yeah. Like, you're shutting down the... Like, there's an explanation of why...
The show knows you're not gonna... It doesn't have your attention at the start. It knows that it's boring, so it's gonna keep, like...
repeating itself to make sure you get it. Like, it starts off with the main character works for, like, this... auditing
some kind of government bureaucracy
it's like an internal affairs group, and
they're like the inspection group, so they like are inspecting things that come from different territories in the country, I guess.
Well, yeah, they're internal affairs. They make sure there's no corruption inside the government, and like the beginning of the show is like a whole bunch of explanation for why their group is being shut down. Like, the country's too safe right now, there's not any conflict going on, so we're shutting down the internal affairs group. And that's repeated ad nauseum for half the episode, and then turns out they're not shutting down the internal affairs group. And it was like, why did we need to be reminded over and over again that they were shutting it down, only for it to not be shut down? So, like, I guess... And the reasoning for why it wasn't shut down was bizarre. Because the main character... like, basically, they're getting shut down, so he goes to, like, investigate his own team, I guess. And he finds that someone on his team was corrupt.
Yeah,
and so he busts them. And then the government's like, oh, turns out we do need someone to sit around and bust corruption. We just somehow didn't realize there was any corruption.
I feel like the entire show is going to be them just trying to save their own ass. Like,
I just didn't get how this is like they bust one corruption and the government's like, oh shit, like that's right. We do need an internal affairs group. And I'm like, yeah, why would you ever not? Like, the idea was that the country was so peaceful that nothing bad's going on. And then, like, immediately something bad's going on. It's like, yeah, of course. Why would that ever not be the case? Why would you ever not need... And it was within his own department that the guy was. But I don't know. It was a very weird beginning of a show.
For sure.
And all that this leads up to is basically he now has to investigate all the different branches
in a shorter period of time than he normally would. It's like
they just want him to do it quickly, and there seems to be some undercurrent of, like, obviously there's going to be a whole snowball of corruption underneath the surface, and meanwhile there's like a guy who has a problem with him who seems to be trying to start some rumors that he might be an arsonist or something.
Oh yeah, the white shirt guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very plotting. It felt like it went on forever.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
Like, I don't feel like we just watched one episode.
I had seen this episode before, and this is all I had seen of it, and seeing it again was torture. I got a little bit of a buzz going right now, so, like, that was really boring. I felt like I was in class.
It was... The thing is that, there's things about it that are interesting, and then things about it that are, like, outright bad, and that's what makes it confusing. So, for instance, the soundtrack's really solid.
Mm-hmm.
It's this eclectic mix of, like, jazzy stuff and hip-hoppy stuff, and, like, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, based on the cityscapes and the OP, I thought this was going to be a New York show, because it's got, like, kind of a jazzy Pocono edge.
It definitely felt like...
And then I thought it was going to be in France, because the characters all look European, and he smokes constantly, but then it's just, like, a made-up place. So I guess it's supposed to be drawing from all of those different ideas. It felt weird. It felt like mixed messages.
It felt like whatever the world is in the Hunger Games.
I have never watched the Hunger Games.
When they were talking about the different districts, I was like, oh, this fucking feels like the Hunger Games.
The way that so the music's good and the character designs are good.
Yeah.
Character designs by Natsume Ono, who some people will probably know. She's a very prolific and well-respected manga author. She did House of Five Leaves, Ristorante Paradiso.
The characters are really solid, but I hate the necks.
The necks are weird.
The main character has like a turkey neck, and it's like, it's uncanny valley.
I like their hair and their eyes and stuff, though.
Yeah.
Which the eyes are what she's best known for. And I mean, these are not the most, like, if I didn't know it was her designs, I probably wouldn't have guessed, because they don't look, like, her real designs have, like, real weird faces. This is a little bit more cleaned up for anime. But, like, so I like the designs and the music, but the animation is terrible for the most part.
It's mostly not animated.
Yeah, I mean, and there's no real, like, the background art sucks.
The background art is all still, too. Like, there's crowds of people, it's just, like, really blurry figures who don't move.
I mean, most of it's set in, like, totally undecorated rooms.
Yeah.
Like, it'll just be a guy against a bland wall, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all couldn't have done anything with the visuals here?
They spend so much time trying to, like, set up this world and, like, the system, but they don't, like...
There's no character to it. The world doesn't feel...
Yeah, it's not interesting if you're not going to make it look interesting.
Yeah, the whole time you're just confused about what motif is this. Is this New York? Is this France? Like, what is this motif? Because it has no cohesive motif. There's no feeling of, like, what this place is. What weirded me out the most is that they keep saying it's a country, but, like, it felt like that, like, it was just one city. I don't know if he has to travel to other parts, like... You know, it seems like so many of the relevant characters are all in this one little pocket, this one town, you know, with this central square that he's known to walk around. Like seemingly everyone in this world knows this guy as a dude who walks around Central Square smoking cigarettes. But, like, why would they all know that unless they live in, like, one city? I don't know. It felt very strange.
Well, they make the country seem like it's large, because he had 6 months to, like, go around the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, they showed the whole thing.
This is just the one city that this episode takes place.
But why are so many of the relevant characters there? Like, why are the people from other districts
I don't think the people in his office were relevant characters. Like,
no, I mean, like the one dude in the car, like, warns him about, like, walking around smoking cigarettes, like, drawing attention to himself. And I'm like, why would he have to worry about that if the departments he's going to are all around the country, you know?
Yeah.
Or is it all run from this one city? Because all we've seen is the city and the iconography of the show.
I feel like this is probably, like, the capital of this place, because the city looks very, like, It looks like a metropolis. It looks like it's a bustling.
Even though on street level it looks like a small town, because there's not that many pedestrians or anything.
But the thing is, like, if you stuck around for all the episodes, I don't think the other districts would be that interesting to. Yeah. They'd probably just be.
All of it just seems very middling. Like the animation is super stilted. There's one moment of like great animation where he's like looking for his lighter
at a bar.
Yeah, like there's just a shot of him like trying to figure out where he put his lighter that looks amazing, and the rest of the episode, like every time something, like barely anything moves, and when it does, it moves wrong. Yeah. You know, and it's particularly weird because this is not only a Madhouse show, but a Shingo Natsume directed show, the guy who directed One Punch Man and fucking Space Dandy, which are literally both known for their insanely great animation, and he's known for having connections to everyone in the industry and pulling all these animators. So watching this made me think like that it was like a training show for new animators or something.
Yeah,
like,
which when you said that, I couldn't stop thinking about that's probably...
Just because of how stilted the movement is. Yeah. Like, it felt like people who literally don't know how to animate someone, like, turning their head because the perspective's not right.
The head turning was really bizarre. Because that was, like, the most animation we could get for minutes on end. Yeah. Would just be, like, characters' heads turning. And it always would look awkward. And I thought it was just because of, like, the character designs were probably difficult to animate. I don't know why they would choose this show to be like a beginner show. Because
I mean, like, that was just a random theory.
That's I was thinking about it. Like, it's very possible.
Why is a show with this like attitude not done better?
It's definitely an experiment of some sort.
Yeah, and it's not just the animation, like the dialogue as well, having so much exposition. And, like, and being so front-loaded with exposition, like, why would they do that? Like, you've gotten, is this original? I need to know if this is based on something. Because if this is based on a novel, then that's probably why.
It's based on a manga.
Based on a manga? Was the manga like that, too? Like, just rampantly full of...
I've never seen the manga for it or heard of it.
I don't know. It felt very clumsy for a show of the like style it's trying to have. Like usually when you see a show like this that's like, you know, got more distinctive character designs from a studio like Madhouse with a like political mature narrative, you're kind of hoping it's going to be... And, like, all the reviews on Mal, like, the show has a decent score on Mal. It's close to an 8. And the reviews are all positive, but all of them just mention, like, how it's such a breath of fresh air in this world of the same old otaku pandering shit. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine and all, but is it really a breath of fresh air? Like, I get that it's not bullshit, but that doesn't mean it's good. You know, so I don't know. I've never really heard any like glowing reviews or recommendations.
I've never heard anybody talk about this show outside of like just the art style of it, or that it's from Madhouse.
So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and give it a drop. I think after episode 1, and
boring.
We'll probably do one more in this video.
All right. Spin that wheel.
Okay, one more to go. Will it be another quick drop? Or will it be the show we spend the next few days watching? The answer is number 23. That's...
Centaur's Life.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I have no idea what to expect from the Centaur's Life anime. Well, I know it'll be cute.
Yep.
Let's check it out. Centaur's Life.
Centaur's fucking Life.
We watched one episode. It wasn't enough.
That's all.
I didn't know what to expect from this. And I guess, I mean, I didn't know what to expect, so I can't say I got what I expected, but I got what, like, it's one of those things where you go in thinking it won't be just normal, and then it's, like, shockingly normal. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Like, what did you think this would be like?
I thought it would have used the fact that there's, like, monster girls more, like...
I thought, like, because I've seen this manga in stores for a long time, and I'd flipped through it, and I always thought it was, like, there was a few monster girls and in, like, a normal world. Oh. And that it was, like, about the issues faced by centaurs in a world...
Like the Demi-chan.
Yeah, more like Demi-chan wa Kataritai.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking it would be like, but I had seen shots of like the classroom, and everybody was a monster.
So it's all monsters, but it's all in like a few weirdly specific categories of monster. There's like
4 races of monsters.
There's mer people,
which is probably the coolest one, which they don't have.
And there's none in the
of.
class. Yeah.
Like, well, they're probably gonna show up later. But.
Like the 2 that sounded the coolest were mer people and were tigers. Mer people aren't in the show, and were tigers are extinct. So, which I mean,
how is a were tiger the same as a centaur?
I don't know. They were in the same category, but and then there's like the ones that just have like cat ears and horns, and then fish. Or no, what was the 4th category?
Angel or devil.
Angel and devil, which is weird. Like, particularly weird to me.
Yes.
It's the angel and devil people.
It's very strange
but
choices.
Those are the 4 categories of monsters. And, like, that's just what all humans are. And there's a scientific explanation for why, which is fucking weird. Which is that, like, basically amphibians did not stop their development at 4 legs. They continued up to 6 legs. And all of evolution from then on led up to these 4 different types of humans. Because the monsters are humans. But they speculate that had they evolved from 4-legged lizards, they would have been... the differences between different races of human would have been just
like
as...
different skin color, different
eye color. Yeah, hair color. So, like...
It was interesting because they were like, well, there would be no discrimination if it was like that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. But, yeah, so apparently it's just, like, this world is just from a different evolutionary course where people are 4 weirdly specific types of monsters.
I was really into that kind of, like, background.
I liked the idea of that. I didn't like that scene because I hated the teacher's voice.
Yeah, it was a really awkward scene because there's just like 2 dudes like just watching in on the classroom.
Yeah.
Who were never explained.
Awkward is a good word for this show. Because it starts off awkward.
Yeah.
Like the show opens like straight up faces. On a kiss between 2 of the main characters, both girls. And, like, everyone in the classroom's shocked. And, like, I thought that was a great way to open a show. Like, on a girl's kissing, like, and it's a fun moment. But then it immediately ruins it by over-explaining why it happened. And there's, like, this really, like, extended flashback explaining how this one random dude in the class had, like, rigged... like, he tried to rig the vote so he would be the prince in the play that they're putting on, and then he also had written into the script that they had to have a real kiss. But they spend, like, a good minute explaining this. Yeah. The guy's not relevant.
He's not. He is a brand new character who's, like, a side character we've never been introduced to. Why the fuck do we care?
I mean, we just met all these characters.
Yeah, I know,
like, I assumed he would be a main character based on that scene,
I don't
but
think so. I think
he's not.
Some one-off.
He just shows up for that one part.
It's really weird.
The whole pacing of the show is just, like, off. And,
agreed.
Like, even opening it up on a play episode is already weird. Like, this is something most shows do further into the run when you care about the characters, because you want to see them in a different kind of setting. You want to see what they look like in a different outfit, or, like, how their relationships develop by way of this.
Yeah.
Which this one, like, feels like it's one of those scenes, because it's, like, hinting that these 2 girls maybe one girl has a crush on the other or something. Doesn't come up in the second half of the episode. No. Doesn't seem like it will be explored.
I thought it was really weird how they just had that one kissing scene from a practice of the play, and then just jump right to the play.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, it was a weird setup. Like, the whole episode, like, that first half was already awkward, but, like, it was okay, but the second half was just, like, the second half, there's this long scientific explanation of how this world came to be. And then there's this scene that I can only describe as, like, a nothing scene of, like, the 3 main characters are doing, like, track in school, and, like, they're running. They're running down the road, and the one girl can't run very well because she's a not run creature.
She's a trope.
And the other 2 are good run creatures. And that's, like, a 10-minute scene.
Yep.
is like, that girl's not good at running, but those two are good at running.
So funny. I've never seen that before.
It's not even presented like a joke.
No.
It just goes on, and we were like, what? And again, like you said, the weirdest part, they don't really use the fact that they're monsters that much.
No.
Like, outside the explanation, like, I would expect every gag to be based on that the girl is a centaur, or that they are these other races, or at least bring it up more, but, like, it's really just a slice of life show. And if these characters were just normal humans, most of this would have worked anyways.
Yeah.
Like, just, the centaur girl could have just been sporty. Yeah, that would have made almost as much sense, you know? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I don't get why. Why is it just...
If you run out of Monster Girl shows, this one was probably really easy for them to make.
I mean...
Somebody would probably watch it.
It just feels like...
It was...
They made a normal slice of life show and made all the girls monsters, but it's not a good slice of life show.
No.
Like, as an expert in the genre of cute girls doing cute things, these girls were pretty cute, but nothing they were doing was interesting in the slightest. It wasn't funny. It wasn't adorable. It was just pointless.
I wouldn't even say they were pretty cute. I thought that girl, the blonde girl with the horns, was, like, really unattractive. There was, like, some weird-ass side character cat girl with, like, a real fucked-up face.
Oh, yeah.
She was the one on the bike. The Bat girl's cute. The Centaur girl's cute. The Angel girl I didn't like. But I liked her in the ending, but that's just because it was
I mean, I showed you the manga art, and the manga art is
gorgeous.
way cuter.
Yeah.
It's because it's got more of like a weird kind of almost 80s style to it, where it feels more old school, and it really emphasizes the wispiness of their hair, like these super detailed hair and everything, and it's a little bit more, got like a rough hand-drawn aesthetic. The anime
really
just turns it into, you know, generic cute girls doing cute things look.
Which doesn't work with centaurs.
No, it's not. It's not especially engaging of an art style. So, yeah, the whole thing left me feeling weird. Like, it definitely feels like a cash-in on the Monster Girl craze.
Yeah.
Like, there's no... Regardless of what the manga might have had, like, what might have inspired that, this anime is definitely a cash-in on the Monster Girl craze, and a not interesting one at all. Like, it didn't do anything with it. It just felt awkward.
I remember people being, like, really excited for this show to come out.
Some people love Monster Girls, man.
I know, dude.
Some people really love Monster Girls. But, like, this one's not fan servicey, so there's not that. But it's also not, like... Like, I only watched, like, 4 episodes of Monster Musume, but that show was way better than this one. Like, miles better. So, yeah. Don't watch it.
Not worth your time.
Hopefully in the next Finish or Fail, we'll actually finish a show.
Yeah.
Because this is going to come out after the one I did by myself today, which I have to finish after you go to bed. I'm going to watch the bike show and then finish
the fucking bike show. How far are you in it?
Like 1 minute. So I haven't watched any of it yet. And I don't know if it'll be good or not.
Fucking bike show.
I have no idea how far I'll make it in. But this will probably be the second episode in a row of Finish or Fail where nothing was finished. But that's what happens when so much anime is terrible. There's a few shows I know we will finish, though. Like, there's no way we're not finishing.
There's a huge list of, like, shows we have to get through together.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're going to finish some of the shitty shows that... I was like, no, I don't
We'll
have time
see,
for.
man. I looked over that list. There's nothing on there that
How many shows are on the list
30,
altogether?
No, on my list for me is 42. On our list together is 26, but we just cut out 3.
Yeah.
And I cut out like 6 or 7 in my video. So, we're making good progress.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely going to be some shit we'll finish. I can't imagine we wouldn't finish like Little Witch Academia, which is like 26 episodes.
Yeah.
So, you know. All right, everybody. See you